Hi, FlossTube. This is Tina Frazier coming to you from Williamstown, West Virginia. Sorry about my hair. I'm just kind of relaxing tonight. It's Friday. Well, technically it's Saturday morning, but it's Friday, June 8th. The time is 12:23 a.m. Technically Saturday morning. I am currently up with you because I am doing the cross stitch sleepover, and I'm just kind of sitting here stitching. I'm working on a mid Amish life. This is the pattern that I'm working on today. And I'm currently working on this big tree right here. But you can kind of see getting a little bit of progress made. Um, getting a little bit of progress made. Working on, sorry about my fingers being in the way, this area right there under my finger. That's the tree that I'm working on. But yeah, so it's really late. Everybody else is in bed, asleep. I'm just kind of sitting here stitching. Wanted to stay up late for the cross stitch sleepover. This is hosted, or this was started by Kitten Stitcher a week or two back. She decided to create this event because as adults, we never really get to do sleepovers with each other anymore. So, anyway, I'm just kind of sitting here stitching some. I'll probably be stitching here a little bit. I left my floss tube notebook at home for this trip, so I'm kind of gonna do this on the fly a little bit. Kitten Stitcher did a live video earlier tonight, so if you go over to her YouTube channel, you can watch her a little over an hour long video of her her first cross stitch sleepover video, and she asks some questions for sleepovers, like discussion questions, and some of them were actually kind of interesting. So I think I'm gonna kind of start a new session in my floss tube videos where I ask questions. Kind of like the needleworker tags. I need to dig some more of those questions up. I have to play around with my links and see if I can find out where they are. But and get the questions for those. I think that would be fun. But when I was in college, one of the things that used to be popular back in the early 90s was sending tapes, cassette tapes, where you'd have friends like just record them randomly talking about things or doing homework. And okay, that's just Dylan upstairs going to the bathroom. It's kind of weird. I hear noises upstairs. Oh, these are just my extra glasses stitching. These are my extra stitching glasses, and yeah, this is my pair from last year. I wear glasses when I stitch because it helps relieve eye strain. But anyway, I paused for a minute because I heard noise coming from upstairs. Um, the in-laws' house is haunted. Yeah, so there's a ghost here, and there's some speculation also regarding the passing of my mother-in-law on May 1st. So Megan, the granddaughter, who has been living here um, since a few weeks before mother-in-law passed, um, ever since May 1st, she's been experiencing some things in the house, and we kind of have a speculation that it might be my mother-in-law. But yeah, she goes into the kitchen, which is over that way, and she'll come in the kitchen in the morning, and all the cupboards will be open. Some of the drawers will be open. You know, um, she stays. Her room is down here on this floor, um, and the house was built in like the late 1700s, early 1800s. So it's a pretty old house. Yeah, that's just Dylan upstairs. But yeah, there's some speculation from a couple of us that Ellen hasn't left. And so anyway, there's that. There's bugs all around. We've got the windows open because it's just really hot in the house. So yeah. Anyway, I'm just here stitching for a little bit. I was watching some FlashTube, but I decided that this sounded it sounded a little more fun. It's about 5 minutes in. This sounded like a little more fun, and I think the neighbors finally went in. I could hear their conversation. They were sitting on their front porch, and I was kind of eavesdropping. It's kind of one of those things that you do at a sleepover, right? You kind of sit and eavesdrop on people's conversations. Um, so yeah, so I'm doing my own kind of sleepover in a stitching sleepover with a in a haunted house. And so if you see me like you know crane my neck, um, yeah, you know that's probably why I've heard a noise or caught something out of the corner of my eye. So but yeah, it's kind of fun. I was gonna get into my pajamas and take off my bra because that's just what women do. We like to take off our bra to relax. I might still end up doing that. I've still got my bra on, but not that you really care. But yeah, I may end up doing that after a little bit just to relax. But pretty much everybody else is asleep. Um, I plan on staying up another hour or two at least. I want to get some of this done. I actually have a goal, and I know if you can see this in the pattern. Oh, am I still live? I think I'm still live. It's still recording. That was really weird. I flipped thing. But like you can see here, there's clouds up here. Last weekend I was working on this and I was hoping to get up to the clouds and to get all this done. Well, I'm working on the tree. I should at least get the tree done. And I'm hoping to get this little teeny mountain area back here done. And then once I do the tree in this little mountain area, I'm going to see if I can put in some of the white and gray in the clouds up here. And I will call it a success if I can get there. Um, so this was kind of a rough little week at work. Um, it was kind of slow. After Tuesday, we really didn't have anything to do. Tuesday afternoon was really boring. I went into work Tuesday with 4 audits to do. The 4 audits I had done in half an hour, and then I had nothing to do for like 7.5 hours. It was really icky. And then we didn't get our other work until Wednesday. That was done Wednesday, and then we got more work on Thursday that we worked on yesterday and today. And then I have some to do on Monday and Tuesday when I go back to work. The good thing is though, is that tonight is cross stitch sleepover night, and I'm participating, which makes me feel really good. But next week, Columbus, Ohio, is home to Origins Game Fair. Now I will put a link to that once the video is done, and I can edit. I'm going to put a link to Origins Game Fair. But Origins Game Fair is a big board game convention. Some of you may have heard of Gen Con, which happens in Indianapolis, and there was a Gen Con SoCal, Southern California one. I think there used to be one. I don't know if it's still out there anywhere. But the Gen Con in Indianapolis, Indiana, happens sometime July, August. And that's probably the biggest board game convention that I know of. There's probably 30, 40, 50,000 people or more that go to that one. Origins Game Fair is pretty big, and it happens in downtown Columbus at the convention center. And my husband and I have been going to it every year since it has started being held in Columbus. But the board game convention goes Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's like 5 days of board gaming, 24/7. Anything you could hope to play. Euro games. They have poker tournaments, bridge tournaments, Monopoly tournaments. Euro games like Settlers of Catan, Ticket to Ride, um, Alhambra, Power Grid. All those other like European board games. Um, my husband and I, we were up until this last year, we were members of the Columbus Area Board Game Society. Well, they take the board games cabs. Their game library goes to Origins every year, and they run what's called the boardroom. Well, I'm working at the boardroom this year. My shift is on Thursday afternoon and Friday early evening, and that allows me to get into the convention free for the entire weekend. So I since I know the checkout system for their board games that they use, um, it's a real easy 8 hour shift to get my badge for the convention for free, and it saves us like $90 for my entrance into the convention. And it's a lot of fun. Most of our local friends go. A lot of our cabs friends go. We have friends coming in from out of state and out of town, and some out of the country that will likely pass by at the convention center. It's a great time. We have a lot of fun. We play a lot of board games, but let me tell you, it's tiring. But anyway, so I was segueing into the fact that Monday and Tuesday when I go into work, I just have to finish up the work I have. Then I'm off Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday because I'm going to the convention. And I'm really excited about that. Um, every year, Dylan and I save up all our change, our spare change from things we buy, and we put all our change into buckets and we count it up every year and we take our spare change to Origins with us. One of the things that's helped us gather change is we now do our laundry at a laundromat because it's a lot easier to take all the laundry to the laundromat and spend an hour and a half and get an entire week's worth of laundry done in one fell swoop than to do a load here, do a load there throughout the week. So usually what happens is we get about $20 to $25 worth of quarters out. We go do our laundry. Any extra quarters goes into the Origins Change Fund. So I mean, we're probably putting anywhere from $5 to $10 worth of quarters in that change fund at least every week. And all our other spare change, Dylan also pops in, some money here and there, extra that we have. And it's really kind of nice because that spare change really adds up. Um, I think we have a bigger pot this year to take with us to the convention to spend to, kind of our mad money for the convention. We have a bigger pot this year than I think we've had in a while. And it's going to be kind of fun. I'm looking forward to seeing what kind of games and stuff they have out there. There's always some new games to try. There's always fun people to meet up. I don't know if you guys know this, but those of you that are into paranormal and have ever watched Ghost Hunters, you know that there used to be a person on the Ghost Hunters show called named Grant Wilson, who was one of the guys that started the show. He left the show a couple of years ago, and he started game designing with a friend of his, Richie. I forget Richie's last name, but he started game designing with a friend of his. He does artwork, and he also writes music and plays piano. If you've never heard any of his piano stuff is amazing. But their game company is called Rather Dashing Games, and the first year that he was at Origins, that Grant was at Origins, um, as an exhibitor. I didn't know that until Sunday afternoon, and of course, by the time I went to go find him, he had left the convention for the day. He had some business to take care of, so he had to leave the convention a little early, and I missed my chance to meet him. Well, the following year, one of the cab's members, one of the cab's board members, um, was a good friend of his, and invited him over Wednesday night to the cab's boardroom at Origins to play games with a bunch of us. And I happened to be one of the people that Scott, the board member of our gaming group, um, roped in to play a game with Grant Wilson. So I got to sit and play a game with Grant Wilson. Well, through the week, Grant would see me wandering the dealer's room and he'd wave and hi, and, we get to talking and stuff like that. So now every year that he's come to Origins with his rather dashing game company, he has, came up to me and give me a big hug and ask me how things are. And it's he's a really nice guy, you guys. Grant Wilson is amazingly nice. Um, just don't be that fan person that goes up, oh my god, it's you. Don't do that. He's just so nice. He'll talk to you. Just be nice to him. Yeah, he'll talk about ghosting. It's not his first thing, but um, just talk to him about his games. Sit and play a game with him. He's fun. He always remembers when I beat him, which is really kind of funny. But yeah, so we get to see Grant Wilson. I get to see Grant Wilson this next week, and I'm kind of excited for that. I get to talk to him a little bit and tell him about my new equipment that I got at the ghost hunt I went to a couple weeks ago here in Marietta. So that that'll be a lot of fun. Looking forward to board games. Looking forward to seeing Grant. Looking forward to seeing all kinds of things. So it's just really, it's going to be an exciting week for me. Um, the week after, my husband had originally was going to ask me if we could come back down to his dad's house where we're at this weekend. We were here last weekend as well, but because of Origins next weekend, we're not coming down. But the weekend after that, that Saturday, is the last Ohio Roller Derby home game, and I've only went to one home game this entire season back in March, and I kind of would really like to go see the last home game if I can. So I've asked Dylan if we could not come down and visit um, this coming weekend and the weekend after. So we're gonna stay home. Plus, we need to get some stuff done at home anyway, like keeping the yard work up and just cleaning house. And I just like to stay home. So that's what we're gonna do. So this next 2 weeks will be will be all right. The other thing that I am looking at, or the other thing that happened this week is, you know, my backyard. I had mowed most of my backyard, but there was still about a third of the backyard that I hadn't mowed in like the last 4 or 5 weeks. So there was about 3.5 foot tall weeds towards the back of my backyard, between my yard and the neighbor's yard. And I decided Wednesday night that I was going to go out there and mow because it was pretty nice. It was cool when I got outside when I got home from work. So it was a nice night to go out there and mow. So I just went out there and I mowed the remaining part that hasn't been mowed, and then I lowered the deck on the lawnmower, and then mowed the entire backyard. So I actually mowed the part that needed mowed twice, and then the whole backyard got it. So at least it's all mowed for another week or two, and I don't have to worry about it. But when we switched cable companies back in December or January, because the ground was so froze over and cold, and it was the middle of winter, and there was snow everywhere. They couldn't bury the cable for our internet and phone, and um, yeah. So the reason why I'm here tonight and coming to you live and coming to you through the cross stitch sleepover is because the cable for our internet and phone, um, I think our lawnmower decided it was tasty. And yeah, the cable for the internet and phone is now in 3 pieces hanging on the fence in our backyard. Whoops. So yeah, hopefully when they come Sunday, they're supposed to come Sunday, so we're actually leaving earlier than we normally do on Sunday morning to head back home. It's about a 2.5 hour drive, so we can be there for the cable guys, the cable company, around 2 p.m. They're supposed to come anywhere from 2 to 4. Hopefully, keep my fingers crossed, they'll be able to bury the cable this time, so we don't have to worry about mowing over it with our lawnmower. I can put pictures of the cable at the end of the video. Hopefully, if not, it'll be on my next floss tube video. But yeah, I mowed over the cable, so we haven't had internet or phone at my house since Wednesday night. Whoops. But anyway, so yeah, and I don't know if you can tell, but like my hair is growing out. My purple is growing out. We're gonna be doing my hair Sunday night when we get home too, for Origins mainly. So my hair's gonna go back to being more like the color of my shirt. I mean, you can see my roots really bad, but um, other than that, nothing else is going on really. I have some new patterns. I have some patterns on order. Um, I haven't been to my cross stitch store in a couple of days. Actually, it's been a couple weeks. The last time I did anything with the cross stitch store was we went to the Clippers game a couple weeks back. I just haven't had time, and there's been some other things I needed to take care of. Haven't really been in the mood to go, but hopefully that'll change. I'm not going to be able to go this week because of Origins, or I'm going to be down at the convention center starting Wednesday afternoon sometime. Um, One bit of advice I have for you guys, if you're ever in Columbus, or if you're ever in an area and you're going to an event somewhere, whether it be a convention center event, a concert, or whatever, and if there's parking garages or parking lots near the venue that you're going to that have signed up to something called, I think it's called Parking Panda, is one of them, or any of those apps like that where you can actually reserve a parking spot. Let me tell you what, those things are truly amazing. This week in Columbus is also Pride Week. So, Saturday, this not tomorrow, but next Saturday during Origins, the Pride Parade goes right downtown, right past the convention center where Origins Game Fair is at. Last year, it was the same situation, but my husband and I had used Parking Panda to reserve a parking spot in the parking garage right across from the convention center. We had a parking spot Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and it was reserved. I reserved it like 4 or 5 weeks in advance. So we could ensure that we had a place to park when we got down there, which is really good because Saturday morning, all of the roads around the convention center, because the parade goes through there, all the roads were blocked off. People were trying to find parking. When we pulled in around 9 o'clock Saturday morning, the garage that we had reserved a spot in, what had been, there were orange cones out in front of the entrance, and the sign had said full. So we pulled in. There was a cop kind of watching, watching traffic and help guiding people where they can maybe go find parking spots. And we pulled in around the cones, and we pulled in. The cop walked up and he goes, "I take it you guys have a Parking Panda reservation." And I said, "Yeah, I do." And I pulled up the app on my phone, showed him my reservation. He looked at the time, he looked at the date, and he goes, "Well, there you go. Go ahead. Your a space should be in there for you. Just pull on in and go park." Well, there was this person that saw us pulled in right behind us. The cop had to turn them around because they didn't have a reservation. And there were no spots to be had downtown that day. So if you're ever going to a venue where you can